So welcome people, all of you, as you're joining. Looks like we have a handful of people and more people coming on. I'm going to give it just a moment before we get started today. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Women's Business Center in Northern California. And I think all of you are from California because today's webinar is about California business owners. But I know that we have people from all over our region, maybe even Central California and Southern California. We're really glad you're here. We're going to get started. Let's get started now. So welcome everyone, I'm Joy Taylor. I am so happy to be part of the Women's Business Center. And we are a nonprofit organization hosted in part by the SDA. We support small businesses in Trinity, Siskiyou, Shasta, and Siskiyou counties. And we have a webinar series. We do 1 to 2 free webinars every single month because we love supporting people in starting and growing businesses. And most of you on the call today are growing a business. Our topic is CalSavers Retirement Made Easy for California Small Businesses. And our special guest today is Bianca Bloomquist. So Bianca, yay. It's been a pleasure getting to know you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
We're happy to have you. I'll officially introduce Bianca in a few moments, but let's go to the next slide and just want to really reach out, shout out, and say thank you to all our sponsors. This webinar is brought to you by the Mount Shasta Chamber of Commerce, West Women's Business Center, that's in Mendocino County. Thank you to our friends and partners over there. And then Small Business Majority, you'll be hearing more about them in a moment. And then, of course, our main contributor is the Women's Business Center at JEDI. And we are an organization, as I said, that help people really grow in business. So your potential becomes prosperity. In addition to these free webinars, we do have training classes and private business consultations, tax preparation, business planning, loan application assistance, and advanced business development. You are welcome to reach out and to learn more about our services. We'd love to support you. So what else do I want to say about the webinar? I want you to make the most of it. So be an active listener. You're going to learn a lot about something brand new that will help you help your employees, help you help yourself as a business owner, and that's retirement. But just a little technical stuff about the platform called Zoom. The screen size options are in your upper right. You can do gallery view, you can do speaker view. We're going to mostly be looking at slides today, but we do have time for Q&A. Down below are your ribbons where you can chat. So if you have a question and you want to ask it midway through, click the button chat, open your chat bar, and type to all the panelists and attendees and just say question, and we'll make sure that I facilitate those questions with Bianca so you can get the answers you're looking for. We're going to do a couple polls, but mostly enjoy, relax, focus in, happy lunchtime, and let's learn a little bit about CalSavers together. I already talked a little bit about the chat, so we're good to go on that. I think what I'd like to do, though, is before I get into exactly what we're going to cover, I want to learn a little bit about you, and I think that so does Bianca. So I'm going to launch a poll, and it's on your screen right now. So if you could answer this question, which best describes you? And go ahead, everyone, and there we go. Some people are starting to vote. Are you a one-man show? Do you have 2 to 5 employees, more than 5? Do you consult with business owners, which is a great reason to be here? Are you an employee, or do you work in HR or bookkeeping? We're getting a phenomenal 75% of people have voted. Oh, we're over the top. I'm going to do a countdown and I'm going to launch the results. Bianca, this will be really interesting for you. All right, here we go. And for all of us, I'll launch. 38% work with or consult business owners.
That's great.
So that sounds like some people in education, economic development, chambers, etc. And we do have a few solopreneurs or, entrepreneurs that are a one-man show, but quite a few with 2 to 5 employees as well. Super.
Great. Cool.
Well, let me introduce Bianca. And then I'll let you take it away from here. So Bianca Bloomquist manages Small Business Majority's outreach and advocacy in Northern California region. That's us. She develops relationships with business organizations and small business owners to empower the voice of small business in California. What a great job, Bianca.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's
You
really
scored.
great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I know you work directly with California Director on national and statewide policy efforts, and you come with a rich background. You've been on the Hill. You've been in advocacy. You've really definitely been involved in campaigns and politics, but with this flair, with this emphasis about working families. And so obviously that's a passion for you. And we're really excited to hear more about what this CalSavers is all about and how it can support small business owners. So I'm passing it off to you. You got the baton.
Cool. Cool. Thank you so much, Joy. I really appreciate it. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. And I really want to say thanks again to the Women's Business Center for hosting this really important webinar. I'm also doing some presentations on this topic, and I can get to where you can find those later. But I really do appreciate it. This is a really great program that we have for small business owners in California. So I'm going to unshare my screen only because I have a cat that runs around, and if anything happens, you won't be able to see it, but you can all hear me. So I'm going to jump into CalSavers today. Thank you so much. I know that the majority of you from that poll, thank you, Joy, will actually be directly impacted by this program. So it makes sense that all of you are here today. So a little bit about Small Business Majority. We have offices all around the country. We're a national nonprofit. We're a 501c3. We are a small business education and advocacy organization. So as Joy mentioned, I direct operations for Northern California in the Bay Area, but including all the way up to the Oregon border. So when we think of small businesses, we think of a business that employs less than 100 employees. And I realize that there are many ways to define a small business, but we think that 100 or less captures pretty much the essence of what it means to be a small business owner. So that's kind of why we use that rough measure of 100 employees or less. But we also do a lot of work with self-employed folks. I know that some of you are self-employed individuals on anything from access to capital, taxes, tech, energy savings. And I'm here today, as you know, talk about retirement and what CalSavers means to the small business community here in California. So really, all of our work is supported by science and research. We conduct third-party, independent, and polling of small business owners directly so that we know what small business owners actually struggle with. And we pursue solutions to those issues through educational events like this one today, and policy solutions in Sacramento and DC. But our work is based on two fundamental beliefs. First, we believe that entrepreneurs and small businesses are essential building blocks to healthy, sustaining, thriving local economies and communities. And therefore, all of you as entrepreneurs really deserve all the tools and resources that you need to be successful. So that's why the bread and butter of our work is based on delivering events like these, quality educational content that kind of help you as a small business owner understand the context of some of the challenges that you already know that you face. And then the other core driving belief is that we believe that there's an authentic voice of small business that exists, but it's vastly underrepresented and oftentimes drowned out by louder voices on Capitol Hill. So that's just a little bit of my core statements about small business majority. And really that's why we're engaged on this issue. We have the polling that supports the fact that small business owners care about being able to facilitate retirement option for their employees and themselves. So small business in California, the small businesses who've been creating most of the jobs since the Great Recession, most of these businesses are very small firms. We're talking 3 or 4 employees, most of the folks that are participating today. We know that roughly 90% of employers in California alone have less than 100 employees. So again, we're pretty comfortable in defining small business as less than 100 employees as a standard measure for my outreach. So the problem at hand, the retirement gap. We know that we're facing a pretty serious issue when it comes to retirement in America. 75% of the folks that we've contacted regard the retirement problem in America as a personal one, meaning basically they feel the retirement crisis either applies to them directly and their own ability to secure retirement savings for the future. So they're being directly impacted. And the median retirement savings is $3,000 for all working households, which leads us to a massive retirement gap between what folks actually have for retirement and what they'll need upon retiring. It's estimated that that gap, as you can see here, is between $6 and $14 trillion. And the strain that this gap puts on working families, on public services, on our local communities is understandably significant. Additionally, as you can imagine, the less money folks have prepared for retirement places additional strain on the local communities as their buying power is decreased overall, which means less money that they can spend at our shops. Specifically here in California, when we talk about the retirement gap, we know that 66% of Californians who don't have access to a retirement plan program actually work for small businesses with less than 100 employees. The folks who are most likely to have the biggest gap between what they have and what they need actually work for small business. We partnered with AARP. Our AARP polling shows that the majority of small business owners in California support a state retirement savings program that will help them save for the future, for themselves, and for their employees. There's broad support for a program like CalSavers. We know that small business employees don't have access to a retirement option at work. And this is the key piece here. The key challenge is while we know folks have the option to pursue a program on their own, perhaps in the private sector, the key reason folks don't utilize those options currently is because it's not facilitated by their employer. And again, through our research at AARP, workers with access to a payroll deduction specifically are 15 times more likely to save for retirement. So nearly 50%, and this is according to the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, nearly 50% of small businesses say cost is a main concern. But there is also the administrative burden due to capacity. 80% of small businesses have less than 10 employees. As you know, a lot of those firms don't have a dedicated HR department. A lot of folks participating in this webinar probably don't have a dedicated HR department. These HR departments typically help identify, sift through plans, feel out advisors, and fit those advisors to their specific needs. If you don't have an HR department, that presents a pretty big challenge for small businesses. And this isn't because small business owners don't want to offer retirement. Actually, 2/3 would welcome the support to offer a program for savings. So there are a few other reasons here. I mentioned cost. If you have less than 100 employees, the cost to administer a retirement option can be pretty expensive. It's oftentimes more difficult than to fold this added cost into a small business's bottom line. The second is complexity. Searching for a retirement option can be pretty confusing for small business owners, and we just don't know where to begin. And often many small business owners don't have the HR departments to help in that regard. So adding another piece of complexity onto a small business owner's plate can certainly be a non-starter. And then there's liability. So if an employer chooses a particular product and that product doesn't perform and doesn't give an adequate return to the participants of the program, that employer is financially liable for that product and can be actually sued by their employees under their responsibility as a quote unquote fiduciary. Given that most entrepreneurs don't become small business owners to become retirement experts, this poses a pretty significant hurdle in tackling the retirement gap. So that's really the context in which CalSavers was designed. It came from this place of what are the most significant challenges small businesses face in facilitating retirement programs for their employees. We worked really closely in Sacramento on what was then Senate Bill 1234. It was introduced in 2012. It authorized a study through the state to research basic questions of, is a program even possible? Can we create a framework for Californians and California small businesses? It's really important to note that not a dollar of public money was spent in this study, the feasibility study. The feasibility study, you can check it out on the CalSavers website. I'll go ahead and give you that website later on today, but you can also find information about CalSavers from our website. Again, I'll get to that. But since the bill's implementation, it's been led by a public board chaired by Treasurer Cheng. The bill's rollout has taken place with all public participation. So the entire process has been public. You, me, anybody can go into those meetings, sit in, listen in, and then also weigh in. So we engaged pretty heavily in the feedback process. We're still engaging heavily in the feedback process, making sure that the program is working best for small business owners. Since that is our angle, we advocate for small business owners. We don't work for the Treasurer's office. In advocating for the inclusion of the self-employed is an example of how small business majority weighed in on that to expand CalSavers to also include self-employed folks. So you see the bullets there. CalSavers is a workplace-based retirement program developed by the state of California to enable employees to make automatic payroll contributions into personal IRAs, individual retirement accounts. So these plans will be professionally managed with state oversight. So these are IRAs, and IRAs are, if you're not already familiar with an IRA, they are an industry standard type of product. It's not new. It is a regular investment product type that you can get on the market today. It performs like any other IRA performs. They are professionally managed by a private sector management company and administered by a private company. So this is an example of a public-private partnership. Employee participation is completely voluntary and there's no cost. So employees can choose to opt out at any time. And the program is being designed to be self-sustaining, so there's no taxpayer funding and no employer or state liability for the program. There's no taxpayer funding that goes into administering the program. There was startup funding in the form of a loan at the very beginning, and the loan will be repaid in the first years of rollout. The administration fees are very, very, very low compared to similar retirement programs. I don't have the exact number, but it is a very low percentage, and I'm happy to continue to follow up with you as the details of the fees sort of manifest. So again, the state will have no liability for the program funding or the performance. So if you have more than 5 employees and you don't offer a retirement plan to your employees, eventually you will be required to join CalSavers, or you'll need to offer a retirement plan to them. Again, I mentioned it's also open to self-employed folks. So if you're self-employed, you can create an account. You can facilitate contributions on your own through your bank directly. And portable, CalSavers account is portable. Portable means that the account follows the employee wherever they go. So if they move on to the next endeavor, the CalSavers account will move with them since it is not directly tied to the employer. A census is the private management company that administers the program. So they're doing similar programs like this, like CalSavers in both Oregon and Illinois. They understand this space. It is not new to them. This is what they do. CalSavers is best described as a target-based retirement product, which basically means that the investment funds are more aggressive depending on the enrollee's age. So if you're younger, you might be more aggressive in your investments. And then as the enrollees age, it might lean more conservative as you get closer to retirement age, like many other accounts do, to sort of lock in your investment gains. Again, these are all industry standard approaches to retirement investments. The default setting for retirement options is enrolled. So basically an employee will need to opt out of the program if they don't want to participate. And while the contribution rate is currently set to 3%, the statute that was passed in 2012 allows for the board to adjust the contribution rate to no less than 2% and no more than 5% of each paycheck. A small administrative fee is paid out of the employee's payroll contribution out of the employee's accounts. A big takeaway for a lot of you, the employers are not able to contribute to the retirement account, nor are you responsible for managing the funds. So you don't contribute to the retirement account and you're not responsible for managing the funds. And if you have more than 5 employees, basically how it will work is that you will receive a notice from the treasurer's office saying you're eligible for the CalSavers program. They'll determine this by looking at the average number of employees that you've had over a calendar year. At the current moment, you can either facilitate contributions for CalSavers or facilitate a retirement plan on the private market. You know, call a broker, your typical process for finding a retirement plan on your own through the private market. If you go the private route, you simply check a box and then you're done. And to participate, you upload your employee information into the program. I helped a small business owner in Sacramento enroll just over 2 weeks ago. His name is Ricardo. He began the enrollment process. Let me see my notes here. Ricardo began the enrollment process at 10:12 a.m. and was finished at 10:26 a.m. So it took Ricardo less than 15 minutes to enroll in CalSavers. It did not take a lot of time at all. Provided he had his employees' information ready to go, you can figure out how to do that through the notice that you receive. It's all pretty standard information, but it did not take long at all. I was super surprised. It was a really great experience. Very streamlined. Okay, what CalSavers means for employers, each pay period, essentially what will happen is that a census will send you an email. They'll let you know how much of the paycheck to remit. And one check is basically sent to a census for CalSavers, so they will manage the retirement account. And the other check is sent to the employee. When an employee has questions about their contribution rates or questions about withdrawals or their investments or anything CalSavers related at all, they'll just call a census directly, not the employer. It's essentially another line item in the payroll process for you, and they have a dedicated call center for the employees on the CalSavers end. So again, they will not be going through you to manage any of their funds. A tax qualified retirement plan is just any retirement plan that an employer is currently offering their employees that would qualify if you don't want to participate in the CalSavers program. And as the implementation dates get closer, the definition might tighten up a little bit. So like I said, it's still a work in progress, and I'm happy to keep everybody apprised of the specific changes and some of the details here. But for now, the small business offers any kind of retirement plan to their employees, that will count. That will count. And updates, the pilot process just launched last week. All employers are welcome to participate in the full program starting in July, but we are working with small business owners to join a little bit early so we can improve upon our outreach efforts about the program, listen to your feedback, and also just get folks enrolled early, because it's a really great benefit to offer your employees. And depending on how large your business is, you likely don't need to do anything right now. A lot of you between 2 and 5 employees don't need to do anything. There's a lot of misinformation out there. I've heard things like, you should buy my product because if you don't, you won't be in compliance with CalSavers. That's categorically not true. That's not factual. And again, I'm happy to continue the dialogue. If you have any questions for me throughout this process, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email or give me a call. But I just want to say, signing up early for the CalSavers program before you're required in a couple years may create a competitive advantage for yourself, as you'll be facilitating a retirement program that other businesses probably aren't already. I know that the unemployment rates are at historic lows. Folks are really concerned about not only attracting employees, but keeping the employees that they have. CalSavers, if you sign up early, might be a good option to continue doing that. So here is the rollout timeline. We're currently, like I said, involved in the pilot program process of the timeline. So we're identifying those small business owners that are interested. And once the program is operational, likely this year, July at the earliest. So July of this year, employers with more than 100 employees will need to offer a retirement option or CalSavers, so one or the other, within 12 months after the program is open for enrollment. So 1 year after the program is open for enrollment, employers with over 100 employees will have to offer either CalSavers or a retirement option to their employees. The pilot program, like I mentioned, is just started the other week. It's 6 months long, and all the feedback from the pilot will go into constructing the final program full rollout. So we're ready to help get the small business voice included in the CalSavers rollout as of July 2019. And from July through June 30th of 2020, it'll be the very large employers who will have to comply first. Employers with more than 50 employees will need to comply within 24 months, so by 2020. And employers with more than 5 employees will need to comply within 36 months, so by 2021. Again,
Bianca,
yeah, go ahead.
A question that came in. So these are the timeline for requirements, but the question was, with someone with employers of 2 to 5 people, can they enroll before July 1st, 2019?
They can enroll. They can enroll in the pilot process. They'll be able to facilitate funds. It will work just like the CalSavers full rollout will. It won't change anything. But there are a couple caveats to the pilot process. In order to enroll early in the pilot process, you need to have 5. So I guess to answer your question, but if you have between 2 and 5 employees, only those with 5 employees or more can enroll in the pilot process. But you are able to get started early. Reach out to me directly. It's all kind of depending on it's a capacity issue at this point. So feel free to reach out to me, but you need to have 5 employees or more to participate in the pilot program, which just launched. You can get ready to enroll early in the full rollout, and it's possible to begin facilitating those funds before July, but I would have, it's on a case-by-case basis, so I would have to check. Does that answer your question? Was that a little bit confusing?
Nope, that was great. And I'm putting your email address in the chat.
Cool.
Right now, so I know at the end you're going to give us your contact information, but anyone who wants to reach out directly to Bianca, you can do that.
Yeah.
Great information. Keep going.
Okay, great. And how are we on time here?
We are good. It's 12:30, so about another
Perfect.
15, 20 minutes of chat.
Yeah, right on. No, this is great. I timed it right. Okay. All right. Moving right along. So what CalSavers means for employers continued. Employees are not, these are the things that you are not responsible for. So employers are not allowed to contribute to the employee account. You are not liable for an employee's decision to participate in or opt out of CalSavers. You're not liable for investment decisions of participating employees. You are not a fiduciary of the program. You're not responsible for the admin, the investment, the performance, and you're not liable with regard to program design, investment returns, and the benefits paid to employees. So again, we know the fiduciary responsibility is one of the challenges that small business owners face, identified as an obstacle in offering a retirement option. CalSavers has essentially provided this as a solution. So again, they cost too much, it's administratively complex, and the fiduciary responsibility were the three number of reasons that we, from our polling and research, that showed that they didn't offer that. CalSavers addresses solutions to all three of those problems. Why CalSavers is good for small business? It can help you attract the talented employees, and it definitely helps boost employee morale. It will help employers register employees in a retirement program without the overhead and administrative costs typically associated with the retirement plans that are currently available. And it offers an affordable and convenient option for small businesses that don't have an HR department.
Bianca, can I ask 2 questions that came in?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are nonprofit organizations required to, or will they be able to participate?
Nonprofits are able to participate, and I believe that if they also have more than 5 employees, they will also be either required to participate in CalSavers or offer another retirement plan. That's a great question, though, and I can definitely make follow up and confirm that nonprofits will be required to offer one or the other, but I'm 90% sure that that's right. But yeah, but nonprofits are eligible. Nonprofits, self-employed folks, and small business owners are all eligible to enroll in CalSavers.
Super. And what about part-time employees?
It depends. I know that that is determined through the treasurer's office, the part-time, what qualifies as a part-time and full-time employee, as I'm sure a lot of you know, is a topic for robust discussions all the time. I don't have the answer for that. I think that it depends on how they are identified by the IRS, but I'm happy to get back to you on the part-time employees. And again, so just to be clear, a small business that has less than 5 employees, full-time or not, if the employee themselves goes to enroll in a CalSavers program and then approaches the employer and says, listen, I'd really appreciate it if you could facilitate funds through my paycheck into my CalSavers account, then the employer, if they have less than 5 employees, has the option of offering CalSavers to all of their employees. And I'm almost positive that that applies to both full-time and part-time employees.
Great. Another question. I use QuickBooks for payroll. How will the deduction be processed and directed from my business account to the employee's CalSavers account? Great
question. So it typically works just like any other line item will work in your payroll. It varies depending on your payroll provider or QuickBooks. If you're using QuickBooks, I know that QuickBooks was one of the first companies to jump on board with asking questions and how is this going to work and how can we be prepared so that when small business owners come to us, we're able to help them in facilitating these contributions. So it's a pretty easy process. I'm not a small business owner, so I don't know the ins and outs of using QuickBooks as payroll, but it would work simply like any other line item would work in your payroll, including QuickBooks.
Okay, so I know you have more presentation. Why don't you carry on, and then I have 2 more questions, but I'll save them till the end just in case you cover them.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm nearing the end of it here. Let me see where we're at. Okay. All right. So again, these are all some of the benefits of CalSavers for you as a small business employer, especially in remaining competitive. If you are interested in learning more about CalSavers, I did mention the pilot program. The state's looking for small business owners who are interested in being early adopters. Again, you only need to meet 2 criterion to enroll, to get involved in the pilot. That is, you must have 5 employees or more, or you must not currently be offering a retirement plan. So if you're offering a 401k to your employees, I know most of you aren't because those are very expensive, but if you are offering a 401k, for example, you would not be eligible to enroll in the pilot program. There's an opportunity to learn more about the program, provide feedback before it launches next year. That's another added benefit for participating in the pilot. Another added benefit is you get to work closely with me. I get to learn very intimately from you, your feelings about the program. Again, Small Business Majority is an advocacy organization for small business owners. So we are excited about CalSavers because this is going to provide a solution that we've been hearing as an obstacle from small business owners, but we aren't, the treasurer's office. CalSavers is in our program. So I want to hear from you directly about what your thoughts and your experiences with CalSavers thus far and moving forward will be. Again, must have 5 or more. You must not currently offer a retirement benefit. And so for more information, just reach out to me. And I have included I'll give you my contact information in just a second. But if you want to get involved with Small Business Majority, my organization, we not only work on CalSavers, but I do a lot of work regarding access to capital for small business owners. And that's essentially a webinar just like this, which provides a pretty rudimentary understanding of the different loan providers that are out there, and how to avoid predatory lending, SBA loans, SBA loan types, why it matters, and a bunch of mission-driven lenders that are available to you in your area. We also ask small business owners to share their story for media requests. So nobody cares what I have to say. As a nonprofit, advocacy person, they are not interested in my experience with CalSavers. They want to hear from small business owners directly what your thoughts and sentiments are. We also do that through helping small business owners or not. We take a hands-off approach in letters to the editor and op-eds. We host state events. We have our California Summit coming up in January, on January 30th. That is in Southern California. But we are welcoming small business owners from all around California to participate. It's the California Small Business Summit, and the focus of the summit is how do we ensure that small business owners can help local communities thrive. So we also have, I suppose I can take this off now. We also have roundtables. We conduct fly-ins, webinars like this one for business organizations like yours, the chamber, etc. And here is, I don't know if you want to touch on your upcoming events, or
Sure.
should we continue with questions before we
go back? Let's answer the questions, and then I will share a little bit about what's going on at the Women's Business Center, including you being in Reading tomorrow.
Yeah.
People can share live. But let me go through a couple more of the questions that came in, Bianca. Thank you. Great overview. Andrew said, so it sounds like participation in this program takes away the employee's possibility of suing the employer you mentioned earlier. Does that question make sense to you?
Yeah. It's framed. It's from my understanding. The question is, with CalSavers, are employees able to sue their employers over how the program functions, how it performs? The answer to that is that yes, it does eliminate that obstacle. So that's called fiduciary responsibility. And fiduciary responsibility is one of the 3 biggest reasons that small business owners have a hard time offering retirement plan to their employees. And so yes, CalSavers takes care of that. Employees are not able to sue their employer or the state, actually, about the performance of the plan, just like an IRA.
Okay, and Andrew said, got it. Thank you for answering. So this is from Belinda. And I can take people off mute if needed, but I sell employee benefits for small companies. An IRA has lower limits than a 401k plan for how much an employee can contribute. What is the max limit for CalSavers?
It's the same, and forgive me, I am not a retirement expert, but it is the same for the IRA, I think it's like 5,500. I don't know the exact number, but it's the limit, the contribution maximum for CalSavers is the same as traditional IRAs.
Okay. Okay. So whatever the IRA is, that's what CalSavers is using as their standard. Great.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is relative to age. Okay. Question. How does an employer track the max amount of an employee has already put into the plan, especially when they've changed companies during the year?
Well, so is the question, well, there's two parts that I want to answer to that. One, it's important to remember that the employer does not facilitate, or if they facilitate funds through their paycheck, through a payroll deduction, but they don't manage the funds. So I'd be curious. I mean, if the employer is just curious as to how much the employee has contributed, I would imagine that information is available on the report that the employer gets each. So for example, if an employee wants to change their contribution limits from 2% to 3% or 5% or whatever, the employer will see that from the report that they receive from a census, because they will need to facilitate the funds through their payroll. So they'll be able to see those details. I don't know that they'll be able to see how much the employee has contributed. And I would imagine they could just ask their employee. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But what's important is that the employer is not responsible for managing any of that.
Okay. Okay. So then we're getting lots of great questions. And
Cool.
We understand it's a pilot. So a lot of this is the benefit of actually being a part of the pilot is really like fleshing some of this out. So it says, will the IRA funds only, or the CalSaver funds only be directed into stock market type funds, or will employees have the option of investing?
Good question. It's going to be managed just like an IRA is managed. So it's target based upon retirement age, provided that the retirement age doesn't increase anymore. The younger an enrollee is, the more aggressive those funds will be, and then as they approach retirement age, it's going to become much more conservative, just like in a traditional retirement program that you can get on the private market.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so stocks, mutual funds, because they were asking about precious metals.
Oh, that would be folded in just like in when you look at your retirement plan, when you get that report and it's like Oppenheimer Global A, and it's actually an amalgam of a bunch of different things. I would imagine it's just like that, managed by a census. All
right. Okay, so if it is payroll deduction, this is a comment, the employer will have tracking of the amount the employee has had deducted, but will not know the total they have contributed over the course of a year. So yes, and that's, it's kind of like any retirement, it's situation and payroll situation. So I think that's more of a comment than a question.
Yeah, who is that comment by? It sounds like they're a good resource for me to have.
That was Belinda Roberts.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and so once again, your email address, bbloomquist@smallbusinessmajority. When I send out the recording of this webinar, then what I will also do is make sure that people get the recording, but also your information and anything else you want to send, Bianca, would be great.
No, but I would like to add that number up there, that is my personal cell phone number. I prefer texts because I'm a millennial and it's far easy for me to keep track of, but that's my personal cell. So any of the small business owners that have participated today in this program, and obviously, hopefully we'll be in touch afterwards in terms of, getting out the info with the slide deck and everything. But if you have any specific questions, if you have more, just feel free to use that number right there and that email address.
Okay, great. And so your role really is as an advocate of this program, getting people engaged. Now, if someone is working in the pilot program, they'll be working with you, and is there a complete team
Yeah, good. That's a great question. So first of all, we are an advocate for small business owners. So we are by extension an advocate of CalSavers program and making sure that it is successful, easy to use. It provides a solution to a lot of small business owners. So yeah, I am partnering closely with there's a large team in the treasurer's office that has been a part of this program since its inception. So there's a big team over there. They have a me for the state of California for the CalSavers program specifically. That person would be directly responsible for enrolling you and answering any more specific questions that you might have. Yeah.
Perfect. That is so helpful. And by the way, Belinda Roberts says, my son is on the Small Business Majority Advisory Council.
Oh, great. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, so she's informed. That's one of the benefits of becoming involved with Small Business Majority. We are not a membership-based organization. We don't ask for dues or fees or anything like that, but we get small business sentiments directly from small business owners, and we also do some advocacy on the council. So that's great to hear. Awesome.
Great. So hopefully people have some takeaways. I mean, first off, it's great to be in the know. Secondly, you're one of the first in the know. So you have an opportunity to be involved in this pilot. You see what is coming, and you also have access to Bianca, which is wonderful how hands-on you are to support small business owners. Really appreciate you being here.
You got it.
I want to do another poll, and I would also love to just share what's coming up at the Women's Business Center. For those of you who are in our area, Bianca is going to be tomorrow from noon to 1 at the Women's Business Center. You can learn more about that at e-jedi.org. I'll type that into the chat as well. And then we have some other events that happen in Reading. Every month we have our We Thrive, and the next one is investing in your most important asset. And in this case, the asset is you. This woman is talking a lot about well-being in the workplace. Our next webinar is January 16th. I'm really looking forward to this interview presentation style with Joanna Sapir, who is a business coach and consultant who specializes in sales. And so it's all about how to double your sales without more marketing, and really highlighting people in the service industry, but it will be useful for everyone who attends. So those are my announcements. Definitely click on the chat link if you want to learn more about Bianca's presentation in Reading tomorrow at noon. It'll be much like this, but you'll get to meet her, ask more questions. You can pass it on to other people. And then let's do the poll. I would like to know how you heard about this webinar. And I appreciate you taking a moment to do this. We constantly want to know how to get the word out to support more people who are starting, who are growing businesses, much like the Small Business Majority, Mount Shasta Chamber, and West Company. We're all in it together, and we do want to really give more power to the people as entrepreneurs so that we can grow. And looks like we've got some word of mouth. Some people don't know, social media and the JEDI news. So fantastic. Thank you for taking a moment. Looks like a couple more of you are voting. And that only helps us spread the news. Great. Thanks a lot. Yeah, so you can become a member of our organization for $25 a year and get a super big 80% discount on everything that we do offer that is fee-based. And then all of our consulting is available for free. So I think my last slide is just a big thank you again to our sponsors. Obviously, the Women's Business Center, Small Business Majority, Mount Shasta Chamber of Commerce, and West Business Center in Mendocino. Bianca, thank you. And we've got some people saying thank you in the chat. Great, informative. It's a super cool project you're on. And I know you're doing a lot of nice things for small businesses in the nonprofit as well. So we appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, everyone. Thank you. And we hope to see you January 16th for the next webinar.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Joy. I appreciate it. And I'll see you soon.
Okay. Sounds fantastic. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye, everyone.